Welcome to the Broadcast Learning Channel, the ultimate destination for mastering broadcast media technology. Whether you're exploring the fundamentals or diving into advanced techniques, this is where innovation meets expertise. Get ready to elevate your skills and stay ahead in the ever-evolving world of media production, on-air operations, and engineering. With host Annie Billings, broadcast operations and engineering trainer.
We have with us today Peter Talday of Bright Media Solutions. Now, what we're going to talk about here today is in television stations, we have to decide what we're going to actually air that day. And what I mean by air is there's a schedule that gets created that tells the operators what content to play to air throughout the day. This is not something that's just arbitrarily done. And that's why I've asked Peter to come on today so he can talk to us about his solution that he provides in the broadcast media world. And again, this is Peter Talday, and he's going to talk to us about the solution that helps with creating a schedule for what we call day of play out to air. So,
Mhm.
Peter, welcome. I am so glad that you could join us here today. And we're looking forward to this session. We're hoping that our viewers will retain or get a lot of information about what type of solution you offer and how that solution can be used in television stations, not only television stations, if there was I believe that your software could be used at local facilities like government channels and different things like that, because really you're giving tools that will help build out a schedule for content that's going to be played that day. So, Peter, my first question for you is what inspired the founding of Bright Media? And this is a second question, part of that question, okay? And what
Mhm.
problems were you aiming to solve in the media industry?
Okay. Firstly, Annie, thank you for having me on this show. Okay, it is a pleasure to speak to you. So, first, let me tell you about Bright Media first. So, Bright Media Solution has been there for a decade or long. Okay, it was started by professionals who have been in this industry for a long time. They worked with different softwares around the world and with different companies. And based on the collective experience, what they found is when softwares were used, there were multiple tools or multiple software that were being used to on for one single platform. So if I wanted to do media management, I had to have another software. If I wanted to do planning, I had to have another software. So there were multiple add-ons. So what they decided and what they thought is, why not have everything under one platform? So you do not have to hunt around under one platform. You have your media management, you have your planning, you have your scheduling, you have your as runs reconciliation, you have your billing. So everything is under one platform. So that is what they had done. They tried and tested it multiple times, and finally they launched it, I think, a decade back. And there's no looking back. We have moved on. We were initially Windows based. Now we are web based. So you're no longer tied to the desk.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that would bring me into my next question. So you say
Uh-huh.
it's web-based. So
Correct.
Peter, it being web-based is we know that that means it's in the cloud, but do
Hmm.
you have the ability to make it web-based or hybrid, or can it be on-prem still?
So many customers prefer cloud because it is faster to deploy, more flexible, and it
Okay.
reduces the hardware maintenance cost. Okay. At the same time, some broadcasters, as you rightly said, still require on-prem because they do not want to go on cloud for some security reasons. That's why Boss Studio is designed to be flexible. Customers can either choose what works best for them. They can go
Okay.
on cloud or on-prem. So we do both.
Okay, good. Very good. Now, Peter, I want you to show as much of the software so people can have an idea. But now,
Mhm.
before we get to that point, if you see me looking to the side, I'm trying to make sure I get all my questions in because I think these questions are important. So if you see me
Certainly,
looking
yes.
to the side, that's what I'm doing. I'm making sure I get all these questions in. Now, what does onboarding a new client look like operationally?
Uh, Ideally, onboarding a client with all the technical, it's basically technically back end. But the flow is something like Boss Studio is simple and structured. Okay,
Okay.
we focus on getting the channel operational quickly with minimal disruption to the client's existing workflow.
Okay.
Okay, this is something that cannot be shown, but I can explain it to you.
Okay.
Firstly, what we do is we understand the client's requirement as to what they require, what channel setup, like, is it single channel, is it a multiple channel, because we support multiple channels, like we can support a bouquet of channels as well.
Okay.
uh, the secondly is the configuration and the integration. Maybe it would be a software. Understand this, ours is only a software, so we have to integrate with their MAM, the media asset management. We have to integrate with the playout, multiple automations that we have to do. Then the data, whatever data they have currently have, okay, we need to map it with the API. We do the integration, we have to do the migration as well. Okay, so that is we of course we send them, workflow as to how we will do that. Then we have the training and the training with the hand holding. We tell them, because ours is easy to use software, but still at the same time, even if users have used it in the past or different software, we still show them the ropes, and we do hand holding until they go live.
Okay.
And the ongoing support is we continue the ongoing support for a month after that.
Okay. Now, and that's important, Peter. I find that sometimes you know, you install your product at a
Hmm.
station or facility, and a lot of companies don't do that hand holding. And I think that's important because it makes
Absolutely.
the customer successful,
Hmm.
and they know they have that security blanket there because there's going to be somebody they can ask questions to. But not
Correct.
only that, I think long term it helps your company not to have to answer so many technical calls. So
Hmm.
I think that's a great thing that you do that hand holding as you're bringing a new customer on. Now, let me can you walk us through, because I like to show some of the offerings and your solutions that you have. So can you walk us through your typical workflow from the part of generating a schedule to that schedule actually being delivered to master control or wherever that schedule's point is going to be played out? Can you walk us through that verbally to tell us what or show it to us?
Certainly, in fact, let me show it to you. Uh, Let me give you a overview on that. Let me share my screen first.
Okay.
Share screen. How do I show the steps? Share.
While Peter's sharing his screen here, and this platform, I sort of introduced Peter to it this morning. So let's be a little patient as he shares his screen here. But the
Okay.
thing is that working in a television station, we have to have that schedule. Otherwise, we don't know what we're supposed to air that day. So Peter's going to share his screen with us here. So I'm going to bring it on screen so that we can see, and I'm going to take it full screen, Peter, so that people have the opportunity to really
Certainly.
see.
So I've shared my
Okay.
screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Great. So as I said, it's web-based. So all we require is this link that I have over here. Okay, I need to enter this link. I need a login ID and a password, and of course, internet access. You can log in from anywhere in the world. If I create a password for you, Annie, you could also log in using this. So this I log in.
Okay.
Okay, so what I see first is my dashboard. So right now we would be only talking about scheduling, right? Well, because you want
Correct.
to do how a schedule looks like. So to reach a schedule, if you talk about planning, I'll just take you to planning first. So first, a day has to be planned. So if you have a schedule, So on the left hand side of my screen or my dashboard are all my modules with planning and the scheduling and the time.
Okay. Peter, you're breaking up just a
A
little bit.
user or the channel has to first plan the content for the entire 24 hours. So they decide which show goes on, when it goes on, what breaks are there. So they select the channel that I will be working on today. So let's say I select airsync, I select a day, let's say 9 February. I confirm, and my date comes up over here as 9 February. I've got all the days. So what I can do in a planning structure is I can either drag and drop a content where I want it. Okay, there are multiple features under planning. Let me ask you a question, Annie. Would you want me to deep dive because this would take longer in planning, or would you want me to show from planning how to move to schedule, because that was a question as to how does it go to schedule.
Well, because we well, because we're limited on timing, let's take it from a bird's eye view today, and then maybe I'll have you back on to do a more deep dive somewhere in the future here.
Certainly. So, just before I move to schedule, so under planning, we have multiple options. Like you have planning, you have repeat patterns wherein programs are repeated throughout the week or throughout the month. We have short-term planning, long-term planning. We can copy a playlist. So these are some slangs that are used or planning slots. But without further ado, let me go to schedule. I'll open the schedule for you. So this is what the schedule looks like for a single day. So here, let me expand it. So I've got the headers and I have got the breaks, what is going to be there. On the right hand side, what you will see is these are the promos, fillers that are there. So here we have a media category, which says, so here we have all the fillers that are there. And the second one is the bookings. So here you have all the bookings that are there in a particular month. So here we do not see anything. So let me just go back and get you a day. Let me just go back to January. Here there are. Okay, so I've expanded this. So here you see all the headers along with the commercial that are already filled. And here, if you see, these are all the commercials that are there. So what we do is we make sure that the user does not have to drag and drop, see which slot is available, and according to the time, fill it. What we have done is we have automated the process so that they do not have to do anything manually. So let's say I just delete this for your reference. Okay. And now I just need to fill in the commercials over here. So what I'll do over here is I'll go to planning over here, run. So if you see, this is refreshed over here. I'll go to routes as per the time range that we have set. Oh, book spots are not available. Give me one moment. It's getting refreshed over here.
Okay.
Just refresh this. I just deleted them. Okay, there it's come. Expand, run, autofill book spots. So as per the time range over here, it will fix the spots in the center over here. So it started filling it up. So this AI does it for us. So 28 commercials have been plotted. So it will fill as per the timeline that we have over here. On the right hand side, if you see, we
Okay.
have the duration and we have the time range as to what time range the spots needs to be filled. So if there's a spot between 6 and 7, it will go and sit over there. But if there's no space available over there, this will not be moved. So there is a validation system. So the system will plot it accordingly. It will apply it accordingly.
Okay.
That is how your commercials are plotted throughout the day. If you see, my commercials have been plotted throughout the day. Now, The second part of the playlist is I also need to fill in the gaps once my commercials are done. So I fill in the gaps by filling in promos or by filling in fillers or your channel bugs or whatever. So we have that over here. Okay, let me
Okay.
show you the media library. So let's say I want, I'll give you the 30-second bugs. So again, I can either drag and drop these in the center, but I don't want to do that. What I'll do is I'll autofill short forms. Now there are two ways of doing it. I can either fill it by percentage wise. 100% would be, it would go on every break. And if I say 50%, it would go on alternate breaks. I do
Okay.
that. I also have the option of doing it by account. Right now, I'll just go by percentage or weightage. I save it. And if you see, it has gone by percentage wise. If you see Ultratech, Asian Paints has gone only once on every break, whereas Ultratech has gone on every break.
Okay.
So this is how I can fill the entire playlist, and from here it will move to play out once it's done. Because after this, we have the secondary events as well. I can attach the secondary events that are there. For example, you have your now, next, later. I can do that as well. So just to quickly show you the secondary events, I just click on this header over here
Okay.
and say select all headers. I select this. I have my secondary events. So right now, if you see secondary events already here, so let me first delete secondary events. Delete selected. Delete all. Let me just delete all the headers are gone. I select the header again. Select all headers. Secondary events, apply style sheet. I select a style sheet that is there. So over here now we are not restricted to the number of secondary layers that I want. Like there are in some channels there are restrictions. So here there's no restriction. I can create multiple style sheets, or we can discuss the style sheet how it is created maybe in the future. But
Okay.
I'm just applying one style sheet now, and my style sheet is applied. If you see the prototypes, my secondary events added over here. And if I want to see it further, I can just open this and I can see the secondary events, which secondary events have been applied over here.
So
So this
Peter,
is,
what
yes,
I'm seeing here is that you've your company has pretty much automated many of these tasks. So I could build a schedule in a matter of minutes as long as I've got the content available. What I'm
yes,
seeing here is it your software makes it easy to build out a broadcast schedule.
absolutely. You're right on that.
Now, and one of the other things I want to add on here, Peter, is
Hmm.
that because it is cloud based, when I worked in a television station full time, if we had a problem with the schedule after the schedule was created and
Hmm.
sent down to master control, if we had a problem with that schedule, say it was late in the evening, then what
Hmm.
had to happen is I actually had to call traffic and say, and now traffic is the department that creates the schedule. So if I had
Correct.
a problem with that schedule, I had to call traffic and say, hey, we've got a spot that didn't come in, or this spot needs to be replaced because it doesn't have a disclaimer on it if it's a political spot. So, the thing about your software, it makes it very easy to actually be able to um, utilize this software from home. Is that correct?
Absolutely. In fact, if the right at the playout, if the user has the right and he wants to make the changes, he can do so directly over there. For example, let's say I want this HP laptop to be replaced. I have the option of replacing all H, something called global replacement over
Okay.
here. I select that. I select which one I want to replace over here. Let's say I go for one from here. I say KFC. I select KFC. I want only this one, or I want to select also. I'll just say it's selected, and I say replace. So my this one is replaced. Which one was
Okay.
that? Replaced by KFC. I only wanted one, but if I want, I can replace it all. And the user does not have to come rush back to office to do that. He can just log in at home in the confines of his home, and he can make the changes and he can push it.
And Peter, that's one thing that I really like about software that is cloud-based. You can log in from anywhere and make those changes and not have to worry about, oh, well, I can't get back. Now, I'll give you a prime example of this, Peter. I am
Uh,
based here in Texas. We just had a major ice storm. Okay.
oh, okay.
And so having to try to get in, we can't drive. We're Texans and we don't do very well with driving on ice. So, a software like this where my traffic people can't get in to create the schedule. It,
Hmm.
it's not possible for them to drive in. So with a cloud-based
Absolutely.
solution like this to be able to create the broadcast schedule, they could simply log in from home and still create that schedule and not have to worry about, well, um, calling in, telling the operators, well, replay this or replay that. They can physically log in, create that schedule, not only
True.
create the schedule, but that schedule can still be delivered to master control. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right, Annie.
Abs. Now, Peter, I want to talk about some other things here too. Now, we talk
Hmm.
about scalability. As we are moving into the cloud operations, one of the big things about cloud operation is the ability to scale up and scale down. So, Peter, what I'm about
Correct.
to ask you is, what's the flexibility? Say a client is looking to add more channels. You know,
Hmm.
how do you design your system so that a client can add more channels?
Okay. So, Annie, scalability is built into the way Boss Studio is designed. Say a client wants to add more channels, we don't redesign the system. We simply
Okay.
extend. When we say extended, each channel is configured within the same platform using shared rules, templates, and workflows. This means channels can be added quickly without affecting the existing operations, like scheduling templates, ad sales, rules, reports, and user roles can be reused across the channels. So
Okay.
it does not take much to add channels. All we need to do is migrate the data from the other channels. Everything runs under one system without add-ons or separate tools. So client can
Okay.
scale at their own space, keep costs under control, and manage multiple channels from a single dashboard.
Okay. Now, Peter, when you say keep costs under control, that's one of the things too
Hmm.
that I find that customers are looking to do as we move into cloud is say we're dealing with a sports channel. Now, maybe that sports
Okay.
channel is an OTT channel, it may be a streaming
Hmm.
channel, but maybe we can even talk about our local government channels where a channel is not
Right.
running all the time, but there are
Hmm.
certain times throughout the week that they want to run that channel. So,
Correct.
do they have the ability, as it relates to cost? So, if I open up my channel today and I start running that channel, and
Hmm.
then at the end of today, I'm not gonna run that channel again until Friday of this week. Is your software that flexible to where it relates to cost?
Yes, we have provisions for that also. So as we are flexible in the costing, so we have provisions for that also. For example, you're running a channel maybe once a week, maybe for 4 hours. Maybe
Okay,
it's in the evening or so. We are flexible enough to do that as well. So sometimes most of our clients in Singapore are using this functionality,
okay,
wherein they have some channels which are running throughout the day, and there are some channels which are either a seasonal or they only plays 3 months over the in the period of the entire year.
okay, okay. Now, with that, now let's talk about, a couple other things here.
Hmm.
Most of the time, when it comes to operational
Right.
now, wait a minute, before I go to operational, I wanna go back because you just said earlier that you could cross multiple platforms.
Correct.
So, Peter, does that mean your typical broadcast channels are what? Streaming, OTT, standard broadcast facilities? Tell us about some of the facilities that your software is currently running in.
So, what right now what we have is your linear satellite channels. We have the radio stations.
Okay.
We have the. In fact, we have our own OTT solution. We call it True White Label OTT solution. So, it's TV, radio, OTT, you name it.
Okay.
Anything related to broadcast, we have it.
So it doesn't matter whether it's radio, streaming, OTT, or standard broadcast channels. Anyone who needs to be able to create a schedule, because Peter, I deal with some customers doing my training for some other vendors that
Uh-huh.
they don't have a schedule. They don't have a system. They don't have that software to create that schedule. So what they do is they're using an Excel spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
So if they wanted to look at your system by way of creating, I know that if a customer is moving from one software into your software, I know you can do that conversion there. But how do you handle these customers that have a nothing but a Excel spreadsheet?
Very easy, Annie. When we show them how easy it is to operate Boss Studio, I think they would want it. And with regards to the cost, we are easy on the pocket.
Okay.
And we are very
Okay.
flexible enough. So I don't think when things are getting automated, what happens is reduces the human touch. Okay, at the same time, reduces human errors as well, especially where commercials are concerned. A lot of times, what happens, it stops the leakage, because if a commercial that is supposed to be aired is not aired, that means it's a loss of revenue for the channel.
Right.
That is where we come in. We make sure that every commercial that's supposed to be aired is aired.
Outstanding. And I like that, Peter, because with a software such as yours, you know,
Mhm.
the accountability, when we're dealing with manual um, workflows as far as a Excel spreadsheet goes, how do you reconcile that? With your system, I see that you deal with as run files. So
Correct.
everything that's played to air, that as run file, you can receive it back and you can do through the software the reconciliation, which
Absolutely.
go ahead,
Sorry,
Pete.
please go ahead. So, Asrun is normally automated. Okay. So, but in case you want to see the manual process, let's say, for example, the schedule that we have is completed
Okay.
and we need to push it on air. So, what I'll do is firstly, I will export it. I'll export the Asrun, export the playlist. So, what I'm showing you is the manual process, but otherwise, what happens is whatever goes on air comes back. There's a watch folder created. It comes back to boss from the playout, and from there the asruns can be reconciled. So let's say I've got this asrun, I've got this reconciliation tab over here. I'll say import asrun. This is the first step that I do. I select the file that I need to add file. So I'll add the file first. I'll just go to downloads. Again, this is very easy. I select that. It's added. I upload it successfully. I go to as runs and reconciliation. I select the date that I wanted. Let's say I think it was 12 January, and I say load. On the left hand side, what I'll see is what was actually planned by the scheduling team, and on the
Okay.
right hand side, I will see what went on air. Like over here, what would happen is there may be commercial replacement, the program may be changed here and there. So this would be the actual on air or reconciliation that would be seen, and this is real time. So every day I do not have to wait for the reconciliation to come to me. Every day the reconciliation is done, and this is automated. Again, it is as per channel requirements as to how they want it. Like some do it every day, some do it 50 once in a week, or some do it in 15 once in 15 days.
Okay. And that's absolutely, that's where that accountability comes in because when you auto reconcile your schedule, you know exactly what aired and did not air. And that
Exactly
lets
correct.
traffic know where they have to do make goods.
Correct. That's right.
Okay. So, Peter, can you tell us about how because every piece of media that we play on the
Mhm.
air, whether it's a commercial or a program,
Mhm.
we have to assign what we call a material ID or a media ID to that
Correct.
content.
Mhm.
So how do you assign through your software the media ID for that content? Because those IDs usually get created by the traffic department. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So let me show you also how that's done. Let's say, for example, what we do is we have both. We can create it manually, or it can be automated as well. So what I
Okay.
did is, since we spoke earlier, I create an ID with your company. Let's say your company is a channel.
Okay.
So what I've done over here is I've created a description. Prefix, I've kept it as now the prefix and suffix. The channel can let us know what they want. Okay, so we have kept it as EL, four zeros. This prefix. The first number or the next number would be one. The length of the ID would be 5, and I've named it as a movie. I've saved this. Now let's say I am creating the movie now, a new movie, I go to movie, and that I have, I'll open it. So there's a movie. Which one? Can you name a movie, please,
Um
Annie? Any
the
movie?
Wild West.
The Wild West. Okay, and I'll do a search on this. So whatever information is available on the Wild West, I'll get that. So there are multiple Wild West. So I'll just take one randomly. So firstly, what we have done is we've integrated with IMDb with AI. So whatever information is available, okay, will be fetched. I do not have to add this manually. I save
Okay.
this. If you look at it now, I will get my asset ID. You've seen that the next number over here, I've got EL123455. I've got one over here. My screen is there. I've got my description of it. I've got the content as Elepscor. All I need to do is select it and save it. If I do anything incorrectly, the system will prompt me saying that, okay, what you're doing is incorrect. Can you do that? Recorrect that and save it. And my ID is generated. So next number that will when I'm adding another movie, the next number which you get will be 2. So
Okay.
automatically the numbers will be adding up, and you'll get your own library in doing so.
Okay. And so Peter, if they needed so this movie airs and
Hmm.
usually traffic has a allotted amount of numbers that they use. So say this was a movie that I aired, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago. So
Hmm.
that movie is no longer going to be running again. So
Hmm.
can I reallocate that ID to something else?
No, so this ID is generated. It's static. So when
Okay.
you create a new movie, because this will also be going in the as runs, it will be going in your history. So a new ID for each and every content that you have, a new ID is generated.
Okay.
So by default, a new ID, maybe it's a commercial, maybe it's an interstitial, maybe it's a filler, but a new ID is generated for each and every content or metadata that is there in the library.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Can you talk to us a little bit about segmentation and how you handle segmentation? Segmentation, for those who are not familiar with the term segmentation, that is when you're looking at a program on television, you will see maybe it's a movie that, like we're talking about here. So we're looking at the movie and then there are commercial breaks. So that first program would be that program itself is known. The first one is a segment of the program.
Mhm.
So, Peter, can you elaborate a little bit about how Boss handles those segmentations?
Certainly, Annie. So normally, what happens is most of the times when you receive the content, you also receive the segmentation or when the breaks are to be given for this content. But if you do not have the breaks, or what we have over here is called a version. A version we call it a segmentation, and there are about multiple versions that we created. So maybe a content that is airing in a prime time will have multiple breaks, and a non-prime time will have less breaks. So let's say over here I have a version over here. I want to create a segmentation for that. I go over here and I say, okay, this is three segments. So let's create two. This three segments, I'll select a channel for it. Let's say it is async, and I say generate segments. So what happens over here is by default, this particular content has got three breaks ideally. I've got my media ID over here for each break. So one of three, two of three, three of three. I've got all three breaks over here. This is actually hard part. It's already auto parted into three equal parts. Now let's say the channel says, okay, fine, my first break is not for 28 duration, not 20. I can do that, and my duration changes. So I have to, by default, I would need to change my next duration as well over here.
Okay.
So I can do that as well. So my versioning is done, and I can save it until when you want it. So my duration again changes over here. If I want, I can do that again.
Okay. So now, Peter, let me ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So that duration that you were just sitting there is you're determining how long that break is going to be inside that movie, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Outstanding. And so then when it comes time for the traffic person to fill that break slot, they know actually how much content they can put in to that break.
Correct. So ideally, either you get the breaks with the content, or the QA decides once the quality check is done. They decide, okay, fine, the quality check is done, and okay, this break goes here, this break goes here, this break goes here. These are the durations, and they decide and they confirm it. So I think the QC does it normally in case the breaks are not received.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Now, Peter, I also want to talk to you about a couple other things here, a couple other
Hmm.
questions I have. You know, after the schedule is delivered to master control,
Correct.
there are going to be changes, especially here in the US. There are
Hmm.
changes that are made to that schedule every single day by the operator.
True. Yes.
Okay. And this is Peter, to be honest, this is the point that most people don't sometimes understand what the operator does. Now, no matter how good that schedule is, no matter how good your software is at creating that schedule, there is going to have to be some last minute changes by the on air operator. Now, as the on air operator is making those changes, can
Hmm.
those changes be automatically sent back into your platform?
Absolutely. So, because at the on-air part, they will still be using our software. So, any changes that are made will reflect in the add-ons and reconciliations.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
it doesn't have to worry what changes they're making, because they are going on air, because they have been sent, pushed from boss. Okay. So, whatever changes are made will reflect on Azram. So, we also have the option of sending a partial playlist and publishing it. So that option is also available. But any changes that are made will reflect in the as runs.
Okay, very good. Now, when you say that you can send a partial schedule, that means that you can send, say, a morning schedule that may run from 5 a.m. to noon or something like that. And then traffic can work from there to continue to build out the rest of the day, or and say they build it in 3 blocks throughout the day. So you can send multiple schedules throughout the day or updated schedules to.
Yes, I would rephrase that to updated schedules, because normally schedules are sent either sometimes it's at some place it's a week ahead, or some place it's 48 hours ahead. So
Okay.
when we make changes, we send an updated schedule to publish it, so that whatever changes have been made, it will go from there onwards.
Okay. Okay. Excuse me for that.
No, no
Okay.
worries.
Um, can traffic actually make now I know you said you can send new schedules out, But
Hmm.
does boss allow traffic to make like maybe, and I think you showed that to us earlier, that, and correct me if I'm wrong here. So they need to change out, like you talked about that KFC commercial.
Hmm.
So that's a single change that they can send down to master control without having to send another schedule out, correct?
Correct.
Or or how does that work?
So ideally, if so, what we do, Annie, is sometimes like we have a Magi, right?
Okay.
If a client is using a Magi, I do not have to export the playlist. Like for example, I made the changes to the schedule. I just, since you have integrated with the Amagi, I can directly, the user can directly push it to Amagi. He
Okay.
can check real time whether everything is okay, and he can publish it, and the playlist will continue from wherever it's stopped.
Okay.
Wherever the changes are there, so there is no interruption or halts or stops.
Okay. Now, Peter, let's talk a little bit. I want to ask you a question about secondary events.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of times, the secondary events pertain to like a SCUDdy trigger where we're triggering an external device, or it could
Correct.
just be the simple logo of the station or the channel
Mm-hmm.
branding that we're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
now, if we have secondary events that are actually sponsorships,
Okay.
how do you handle secondary events as they relate to sponsorships that are paid, like sponsorships, like this part of the news is brought to you by, and then
Mm-hmm.
Master Control puts up a logo, and it really would be on pre-recorded programs. So, say I had a pre-recorded program, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to actually be able to place a secondary event on the air because secondary can include audio and actual visuals. So how do you track those so that they can be auto reconciled so the client can show that they can receive payment for that?
So what happens is secondary event. These would be paid secondary events, unlike the normal secondary events that we have. Okay, and it would be similar to what commercials are, how commercials are aired and they are reconciled. So all the paid secondary events will show up in your as runs or
Okay.
reconciliations, and it will go. A bill will be generated along with the tariqa certificate, telling the client that this is a secondary event that was aired. This was the time frame that was there, and this was
Okay.
the secondary event that was aired. And if there's a price to that, it will show the price as well.
Okay. Now that's good to know, Peter, because you're saying that you have the ability to actually pretty much invoice, pull documentation from your platform to be able to invoice um, the persons who purchased commercial time on the air. Is that correct?
Absolutely right, Annie.
Okay. Okay. Peter, there was one other thing, and I know it's real big in sales. Sales always likes to see where they have avails, where they can
Okay.
actually schedule something at the last minute. How do you handle that? Is there a
So,
place for sales
yes,
to see that
yes,
information?
we certainly do. So we have a dashboard, which normally when you log in, you get it. So we have something called a booking status. So let's say I have, let me see if I got for February. One moment. Okay, let me take you to January first then. So what we do, this is a bird's eye view for the management to see as to what is happening in their channels. So I click on this, I show. It gives me a 24-hour slot of the entire month. Okay, so it's divided into each hour. So
Okay.
let this just load. I've got too much data. So each slot, if it's gray, that means it's blank. If it's blue, that means it's partially booked. And if it's red, the channel is happy because that slot is overbooked. So
Okay.
if the management actually wants to see, let's say for example, on the 3rd of January between 5 and 6 a.m., what is it looks like? What does the day look like, or what does the hour look like? I click on this, it gives me a further bifurcation as to what's happening over there. So in that hour, I've got 720 seconds to be used. The channel has used, or the sales has used 325 seconds. What is available to use in this hour is 395 seconds. How many spots have been booked are three. What the total revenue generated is 30. And further down, if they want to know what commercials have been used in that, I can see that as well. So each commercial, I've got Hershey's, HP laptop, Godrej. I've got the asset ID. I've got the duration of the commercial. I've also got the amount of each commercial. So this is
Okay.
where the management can actually see the what is the avail time that is there throughout the month on any given day. If the booking has been if the commercial has been booked, the management can see it over here because this is only a bird's eye view for the management to see as to what is happening in their channel.
Outstanding. And I know that because sales always would go out the traffic and say, "Hey, can I get this spot in?" And so now you're giving them the tools to be able to see where they have open time periods that they can actually schedule something where a client may have called in at the last minute to try to get an
Hmm.
ad in. They can actually go and see that information for themselves. And again, because this is web based, it does not matter where they are located. They can
Hmm.
actually pull out their computer, their tablet, and be able to
Yes,
see this, right?
correct. They do not have to call in and say, okay, I've got this client. Can I book, get this space? They can just log in, check, okay, space is available. Go ahead and book it.
Outstanding. Peter, I'd like to give you the opportunity to tell us about a few other things in closing
Hmm.
here. What are some of the other things that you all have as offerings as part of your solution? And what do you have coming up in the future?
Now, if we go talk about it, Boss Studio already covers all the core needs of a broadcaster in one system. Some key features include integrated scheduling, traffic, sales, rights management, automated log generation, reporting, and multi-channel management. So all without the need for any add-ons or multiple tools. The platform also supports fast changes, live operations, and smooth integration with broadcast, streaming, and OTT workflows. We also have role play based templates and automation. Now, what we are trying to do now in the long run is we are further trying to automate these services more so that whatever manual work is there. So what we're trying to do is uh, get automated the planning that is there to try and automate it further using AI features. That is
Okay.
something we are trying to do. We are trying to get everything under one roof. All the three services we are work is already there. It's already done, but we are making sure that it's all secure and easy to use for our clients
Very
because
good.
it's we are developers. So what we do is we continuously evolve based on customer needs.
Okay.
We're just trying to add features that reduce manual work, improve visibility, and help broadcasters grow their channels and revenue more efficiently.
Okay. And Peter,
That's it.
when we use the term broadcasters, that's
Uh-huh.
been your focus, but it does not mean that your software won't work in, say, universities. Because, again, I guess my question to you before I say this is say I have where I want to run, maybe I have a local channel on my
Hmm.
campus, or
Okay.
again, going back to the city where we have government, city government that actually want to broadcast and set a schedule to be able to run this stuff out to their YouTube channel. You still do work with
Hmm.
customers like that. It's not exclusive just
Yes,
to
because
standard broadcasters.
no, so if it's a YouTube channel, so YouTube is an OTT over the top. So we
Okay.
again we do have a software that caters to OTT subscribers. So
Okay.
again, that's a completely different setup. But yes, we cater to them.
Outstanding.
We do not say okay, fine, they are a small channel, so nothing. So ours is a service, so we service to everyone that is there in the market.
Anyone who needs help with creating a schedule, you have a solution for them, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely right, Annie.
Okay. Well, Peter, I thank you for taking the time to join us. And hopefully we can have you back and focus in on some of the solutions. We don't know what type of response we're going to get from this, but we always want to be able to
Hmm.
provide customers. Our goal here on the Learning Channel is to provide
Annie,
customers
you're
with
breaking
knowledge.
up.
I'm count. All right. Is that a little better, Peter? Now, Peter, tell us where you're based out of.
I'm based in India, Annie. I
Okay.
work from Mumbai, the capital city of is the capital city. So I work out of here. After earlier, I used to go to office. Now, after COVID, most
Okay.
of my team is working remotely.
Okay. Very good. Because I want people to know that I'm talking to you. I'm here in Texas and you're in India. So we've had some audio breakup issues here, and I want them to understand why. But again, our goal here is to educate customers, to educate the end user on products and solutions.
Mhm.
And we hope to have you back in the future to talk more and to show us more about how to really give us some details about how to perform certain tasks and why it's important that you have a schedule and you're able to provide proof to the client who purchased the airtime on your channel that that content aired, and you do that through your software. And I think that's one of the great things that we want to educate people about, how that traffic schedule is created, how it runs on air, and then how we send it back, your software through your software to make sure that it gets reconciled and billed properly.
Great. Thank you, Annie, for having me once again. It has been a pleasure. Yes, I would love to show it to the entire world, what it is,
Okay.
how it works, how it functions, what are the benefits. And I think by looking at your YouTube channel, we will have more clients actually, to
Well,
be
I
honest.
hope so. I hope so. Because I think there is still a need, especially, and Peter, I'm glad to hear you say that there's no small station for your solution. Everybody has an opportunity to use your solution. It doesn't matter how small or how large they are. You
True.
have a solution for each type of
Yes.
facility.
Yes, we do. And as we are developers, Annie, if there is a need for a different software altogether, we have the requirements, we can develop that as well.
Very good. Well, Peter, again, it's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I'm sure we will be in touch in the future.
Certainly, Annie. Thank you very much once again. Thank you for your time. Have a very good day.
You too. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Special thanks to Peter Tawade of Bright Media Solutions for joining us. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and leave a comment. We appreciate your support.